Okay, so the next thing is, can we use Spark to program and play an external module such as this drum station? Okay, well, the way it's set up is the Spark is plugged in via USB, then this MIDI lead is coming out of the Spark MIDI out socket on the back of the Spark and then going into the drum station MIDI input socket. Okay, that's how that's set up. Now, do not touch the Spark at this point until you've set the MIDI driver up in the Spark software, otherwise it will crash because some sort of MIDI loop happens. We must set the MIDI driver properly first. So we need to go over to the Spark software now, which I'll do with the screen capture, and I'll show you how to set that up. Then we'll come back to here. Okay, the software now. Now, everything I'm going to show you now, none of this will work unless you have previously set up the IAC MIDI driver. And we showed how to do that in an earlier chapter, so make sure you do all that first. Okay, so we go to our Spark software, and we go to the main Apple menu at the top of the screen, and we choose Spark Preferences. And this is why we needed the IAC driver installed, because then we have all these MIDI ports available. Choose this one, Spark Public Out. Okay, close it. Now we go to the bottom area of Spark, Library, and we create a new project, call it whatever you like, put it in whatever category you like. Load that project as the current project, and then go through the instruments one by one and make sure they're empty. So for sample instruments, select the instrument, and then click on the red plus here to unload the sample, then it's empty. Do that for all the instruments. If you've got an analog or physical model instrument, switch it for a sample one, then click the red X to unload the sample. We want all these pads empty so they don't make a sound when they're triggering the external module. Okay, so go through the whole kit and make sure they're all empty and save. Always save. Now, in a few minutes further on into this tutorial, I'm going to show you can actually create patterns in Spark Sequencer using external sounds and internal sounds together. So to show that, on pad 16 I've got one internal instrument. You can have internal instruments playing in the pattern as well as external sounds. If you're going to include internal instruments, put them on the final pads like 16, 15 and 14. That way you leave your earlier pads 1 to 8 and 9, 10, 11, 12 etc. free and empty to trigger the external module with. Okay, so I've got one internal sound on 16. So save all that, then go to the top, Preferences, and find this MIDI import export, and we want this. Choose MIDI drum map model for the pads. Set it to general MIDI as a good starting point, because most external modules put their drums on GM notes. And when you've done that, go to the center and we can modify the note number of any pad. Okay, so we just, on a Mac, hold down Command and left click on any pad. On Windows it's probably Control left click, I don't know, but you Command left click on a Mac. On a pad, this panel pops up showing the MIDI note number. Click on the note number, it brings up the list, choose a different number. When you've chosen it, close the panel, save. Always save. So as soon as you update one of the MIDI notes on the pads, back in your preferences, the drum map model here will switch from general MIDI to custom. That's normal. Leave it. Just keep saving every time you modify any of the note numbers of the pads. So go through and make sure they're all on the right note numbers, the pads, and save it all. Then back in the top, just make sure that the send MIDI from pads and send MIDI from sequencer are ticked, and finally choose whether you want to have velocity sensitivity for your pads or not. I do, so I leave it deticked. That way my pads play the external instrument using all their velocity sensitivity. Okay, but if you want to use fixed velocity, have this ticked and adjust the fixed velocity to whatever you want. The default is 64, and save all that. Okay, that's everything we need to do. Alright, so now we'll go back to the hardware now. Okay, so once you've made all your settings like that, okay, I shall just erase pattern A1. Okay, no more pattern. So we've got it all set now, and should work. Kick drum, snare, hats, toms, crash. We can even switch to the next bank of 8 pads. Clap, rim shot, ride, cowbell, couple of congas, cabassa, and claves. But this pad also has one internal sound, remember. Okay, remember, All the pads are empty, they've got no instrument on, except for the 16th pad here, which has got this internal bass sound, but it's also triggering the clave. But I can turn the clave down on the drum station anytime there. Okay, that's how it's set up, and it's triggering fine. So let's put a beat together. Select the first instrument, the kick, put it in on these 1, 5, 9, 12, 13 and 15. Here's our kick drum beat. Now, the other thing is accents work as well. So if I latch accent and put in some accents for the kick, sure enough they work. Okay, so we've got accent per instrument, even if we're triggering an external module. So there's our kick. Let's put some open hat in now. Bit of closed hat. Let's have a bit of that, what is it? Some shaker. Yeah, that'll do. And then I can, I'll record in some real-time recording now. Another thing is, when we're doing recording, we can have the metronome. Just put the metronome on, we'll turn the drum station down. Anytime we want, we can play along to a metronome, even if we're programming external drums or other sounds. So we can have metronome anytime we want. Okay, so let's put some clap in now. Just check which is the clap. That one. Here we go. Record. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, we've got velocity coming off these pads. And there's the pattern I just played in. We've got a louder velocity on that note. Everything works. It works fantastic. Okay, and lastly, I mean, some things don't work. The mute and solo don't work because they're muting and soloing the instrument pads, not the notes leaving the sequencer. The effects thing here, most of that I've tried a few functions on it. They don't seem to work either. And also, I've not got into mapping these pots, these control pots, to control the parameters of the module. We'll get into all that later. But in essence, yes, we can play any external module from the pads, write patterns for it, and now I'll show you can have internal sounds as well. Here we have this internal sound in Spark. So I can TR sequence it the traditional way. You know, if it was a drum sound or something. But I can even put in an instrument with tune mode while the pattern is playing here from this other module. Select 13 for tune mode. Now I've got tune mode for this instrument. Now the downside here, there's a little caveat of course, which is as soon as we put the Spark into tune mode, these pads and buttons play MIDI notes. So inevitably, some of the pads, they're going to trigger the drum sounds. But you just turn this down a little bit or whatever, you know. Just work your way through it. So you can offset the tuning of course for the instrument that's in tune mode. So let me make a little pattern up. Okay, that's the pattern I want. Hit record. 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. Yeah, all working. Internal sounds and external sounds all playing together in the same pattern. It's absolutely brilliant. Fantastic. So let's take it out of tune mode. Yeah, so there you go. It all works. Absolutely brilliant. So let's see what else Spark can do.